So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So guys, Eddie Hearn has talked about Demetrius Andrade and Gennady Golovkin. What do you guys make of this fight? I hope this fight happens. I hope this fight goes ahead because I really want to see it. I think the middleweight division, we need the guys to unify. We need the guys to fight one another. And this would be, for me, a great opportunity for those guys to fight, to be honest. I think it would be a great fight. I think it would be an interesting fight. And I think it's one that the middleweight division needs. Unfortunately, I think the middleweight division has been bit lackluster, and what I mean by that is that the guys aren't fighting one another. We're not getting the fights we want in the middleweight division. We're getting these guys fighting, different guys like Charlo fighting Montiel, and Golovkin. They're talking about Murata, which would obviously be a good fight because it'd be a unification fight. But there's an opportunity for Golovkin to do what Canelo did, and here's the thing with Golovkin. I love Golovkin, and someone said the other day, where you're saying you UK guys don't know boxing, this, that, and the other. The fact of the matter is, Golovkin's now got an opportunity to fight Andrade, and for me, it's a great fight. I personally think he beats Andrade, and I know some Andrade fans disagree, but I think stylistically, Golovkin, his pressure fighting ability will be too much for Demetrius Andrade. I think Gennady Golovkin is all wrong. So I want to see that fight. I think Eddie Hearn's under obviously pressure from Andrade. He needs to deliver him a big fight. Golovkin's under pressure from DAZN because DAZN want to see a big fight. DAZN want to see him in a top fight. They want to see him in a fight that's going to move the needle. And by the way, I'm not even saying Golovkin Andrade moves the needle, but they want to see him in a fight like an Andrade. So they're probably, DAZN might be getting trouble. There was rumors that DAZN were trying to push the Golovkin and Andrade fight because they weren't happy with the opponents at Golovkin. Maybe Golovkin's looking for a tune-up before he fights Murata in December, but why not fight Andrade? I don't quite understand it because I think it's a very winnable fight for Golovkin. Now, maybe Golovkin is looking for a Canelo fight. Now, we already know what Canelo's recently said. Canelo's just said that he prefers a Charlo fight over a Golovkin fight. So there's a great chance that Canelo's not going to fight Golovkin again, because Canelo's looking at new opponents. He's looking at new projects. He's looking at new things. He's looking to add to his legacy. He thinks, I've already beaten Golovkin. Why do I have to face that guy again? I think Golovkin may think and may be holding out because he doesn't want to fight someone like Andrade and lose, and then he knows the Canelo fight's out of his grasp. Whereas I think he's looking to kind of lure Canelo into a third fight because maybe DAZN want it, but I don't think Canelo. I think DAZN are happy with what Canelo's offering them and the fights that Canelo's taking. So if Canelo goes and fights Beterbiev, I don't really think anyone's going to be upset by that. Do you see where I'm coming from? If Canelo goes, fights Beterbiev, looks like he's looking to fight Plant, no one's going to be upset by that, especially if those fights are on DAZN. DAZN are going to be happy with that, and they've probably seen the numbers that he did with Billy Joe. So they're not happy. They're happy with what Canelo's doing. But with Golovkin, they want to see him matched in some tough fights because Golovkin is a star. Golovkin, although he's not as big a star as Canelo, he's a star and someone that can move the needle in the big fights if he's matched rightly against someone like an Andrade, someone like a Charlo. Golovkin can move the needle without question. They will be big fights. But Golovkin is probably looking for a Canelo Alvarez fight. DAZN want him to probably be pushed a lot harder, and maybe, like I said, Golovkin in his mind has a mindset that he wants to fight Canelo, but Canelo has already said he's not going to come down to 160, so that means Golovkin's going to have to move up to fight him. Also, if when Canelo does become undisputed, he may fight Beterbiev, because for me, if Canelo's looking for a legacy fight, that does a lot more for his legacy than a third Golovkin fight. This is what I'm saying. I don't know whether Canelo will be motivated. He's already said that he prefers a Charlo fight over Golovkin, and I don't think Charlo's the best fight out there. I think there's a great fight, Charlo, at 160, and I would prefer to see that over Golovkin. But there's Benavidez that people want to see him against. There's Beterbiev, Bivol. These are much more, dangerous legacy or dangerous fights for him that people actually want to see, that people view as fights that he could lose. The Beterbiev, there's a lot of people out there that think he could lose to Beterbiev. So this is what I'm trying to say, that there's other fights out there for Canelo. So Golovkin and Andrade, for me, I think Golovkin should, personally, if he has got any eyes on a Canelo fight, which he may not do, I think he should start maybe looking to unify and fighting these guys, because imagine what that would do for Golovkin's legacy if he was to, at the age of 39, beat all of these guys and become undisputed. And by the way, I would pick him to beat everyone. I would pick him to beat Andrade. I would pick him to beat Charlo. I would. Even at 39, Golovkin's a beast. Still at this age, Golovkin's still very good, and those guys are untested at that kind of level. Andrade's not tested at all. What's his name? Charlo's not tested at that level either. Golovkin's an elite fighter. So this is what I'm trying to say, that for me, those are tough fights for those guys. Golovkin's been in there with the Canelos. He's been in there with the Danny Jacobs. He's tested. He's proven. Amateur and pro. He's proven. Right? So I think it's a great opportunity for Golovkin, to be honest with you. I think it's a great opportunity for Golovkin. Because think about it, in a space, if he fights Andrade in September, he beats him, he could fight Muratov in December and he could have 3 of the belts. Then he only needs to fight Charlo to become undisputed. And who knows, right? Imagine if he was to become undisputed, how big does that fight between him and Canelo become then, if he becomes undisputed? Then there'll be calls for that fight between him and Golovkin. Listen, I do think Golovkin deserves a third fight, but I just think the way everything's, the way everything's shaped up, I just think there's so many options out there for Canelo if he was to fight Plant next and beat him. There's Benavidez, there's Beterbiev, Bivol, there's Joe Smith at light heavyweight. There's Charlo, there's Andrade. There's a lot of guys, there's 6 or 7 guys Canelo can choose from. Right? So there's no guarantee that he's going to choose Golovkin. I do think that a Golovkin fight would make sense, because Canelo might want to, because there was a lot of people that still thought Golovkin won the second fight. So Canelo might want to put a close to that case by beating Golovkin thoroughly in the trilogy, and putting a full stop to that chapter. Who knows? But I would like to see it. I think it's a quality fight. I think it's a great matchup. And that's why I wanted to see these fights. There's a reason why I want to see Golovkin, Andrade, because I feel like we're closer to an undisputed champion. And I've said this before, I want to see guys become undisputed. I want to see guys, fight the best. I want to see Golovkin fight Andrade. I want to see Golovkin fight Charlo. I want to see the best fight the best. Because that's what boxing needs in order for boxing to be great. We can't keep not having these guys. There's 4 champions right now. They're not fighting each other. And it's kind of like the only division where that's kind of, what other division is that happening in? Well, in the heavyweights, we've got one guy that holds 3 belts. Cruiserweights, light heavyweights, there's 3 champions there. Beterbiev's a unified champion. But in the middleweight division, it's like there's 4 champions. They've not unified. Nobody's unified. Nobody's fought each other. Who knows? Golovkin and Murata might be the first unification fight. But that's not a fight that people want to see the most. And that's probably why it will get made. The fights that people want to see the most is Charlo and Andrade, Andrade and Golovkin, Charlo and Golovkin. Those are the fights that people want to see. Not Golovkin and Murata, but that's probably going to be the first unification fight that gets made, possibly, if the Andrade fight doesn't come to fruition. And Andrade's in a very difficult spot as well, because Andrade knows that eventually he may have to fight somebody that's dangerous. Like Jaime Munguia, for example, could be a huge problem for Andrade. Huge problem. Going off that performance against Liam Williams, Jaime Munguia would be a huge problem. So what Andrade wants to do, he wants to jump into a big fight to prove himself. And also, he knows a fight with someone like Golovkin. Golovkin's kind of on the slide, and it's a big payday. So it makes sense for Andrade. So I don't blame him. But it's a fight that I think needs to happen in the middleweight division. If we want boxing to be great again, if we want boxing to get back to where we want it to be, then these type of fights need to happen. They need to happen. Simple as that. If they don't happen, then, I think it's not good for boxing that, we've got 4 champions in a division and they're not fighting each other. So that's my take on it. Hopefully, do you think Eddie Hearn will make this happen? Eddie Hearn wants the fight to happen. He's been calling up for this fight for a while now, but it's probably struggling to get it over the line. Is it the fact that Golovkin's looking for a Canelo fight? Who knows? Who knows? But leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. Who do you think wins the fight between Golovkin and Andrade? Leave your thoughts, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.